I think the idea here is that we want to try to demonstrate doing something that a lot of other people would be interested in doing.
We made it. I'm gonna park over here because I still got my trailer back there from Timothy's car. Look at them BFG all-terrains with the white letters out. Can't get any better than that. Oh, I thought that was a person. What's up?
Hey Mitchell, how you doing?
Here for some turbo stuff.
Good to see you, man. Yeah. How you been?
Pretty good, about
Right
you?
on. Well, let's come take a look. I got this sucker all ready for you, man. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use the new FP7875 turbo on your new all-wheel drive Chevrolet project. What do you think about that?
That thing looks awesome. And you just coated the
We just
turbo housing?
put this is a new ceramic coating that I'm using that lets me cure it a little bit cooler temperature and helps me cure it more completely before it goes out, so we don't have to have a last little bit of curing on the car that happens, because sometimes that can be kind of random and it can change what the result of the coating is on a long-term level. But I think this new mixture is going to cure better for us and last longer. But you can tell us all about it.
So this is like a pre-production one. When will these be available?
We're in the process of making all of these parts right now. This is we made about 15 sets of all the parts in the beginning so that I could validate, do the aerodynamic testing, and make sure that this was what the final specs I wanted to settle on for the turbocharger. So the release for this is late November. I make two versions of this, a 78 inducer and a 72.9 millimeter inducer. And the 72.9s is more of an idea for twins. And then the 78s is more of an idea for using as a single fast spooling turbocharger on a very stock motor, which I believe is what your goal is.
Yep, that's just we're just gonna run as a stock 5.3 for now and melt the 4L60 and then upgrade to a 4L80 and then melt the motor probably.
Yeah.
We'll see what this does.
Well, I bet that 4L60 doesn't have a fighting chance.
No, it'll be dead in the first video, I'm sure. So you recommended this one over the 80 that I had laying around because of what?
Well, because of what you described your project to me at. You said, hey, I want to start sloppy style. I want to not do a bunch of stuff. I just want to add the turbo, okay? For the last 2 years, I've been kind of going through that whole process with my own Tahoe. And so having recognized what the 4L80 first gear ratio change from the 4L60 to the 4L80 does, and then not realizing the first gear was so different, being stuck with a stock converter and then a factory 373 rear axle ratio, and realizing that the first 3 seconds of a drag pass is really non-eventful as a result of having such a tall first gear in the 4L80, and then putting that in place where a 4L60 was with a significantly lower first gear means that you need a converter and you need to change rear axle ratio. But you said you were going to do first was not do that. You were just going to add the turbo, and a lot of people do this, okay? This is a really popular idea for guys that just want a little more oomph in a tow vehicle. They just want a little more power for motoring around town. They don't want to run a lot of boost. They just want their old 300 horsepower engine to be a 500 horsepower engine.
Yeah.
And it turns out the Chevrolet LS engines do that really, really well, just the way they sit. So, I mean, no ring gapping, no anything, no change of cam or nothing. You can run 5 or 7 pounds of boost on these things and pick up another 150 horsepower, and that's probably what you're going to see right away.
What kind of power will this thing tap out at?
I think that in a single application on a 5.3, that it's probably going to tap out somewhere around 700 horsepower. That would be my guess.
That's enough to have some fun for sure.
It is for sure. It is for sure. I don't think you're going to want to run that turbo at 700 horsepower all the time, because it's going to have a little bit of a bias towards spooling too quickly and having a lot of EMAP, especially if you try to turn the boost up to run a lot of boost pressure. But I think the idea here is that we want to try to demonstrate doing something that a lot of other people would be interested in doing. And there's a lot of fellas out there with old work trucks that would like to add a turbocharger and 200 horsepower to it without buying everything in the Summit catalog. But if you want to keep a stock converter, you want that stock type drivability, and you just want to add 150 or 200 horsepower, then this is the way you do that.
Is your Tahoe here?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, I was just putting some fresh seals in the ring and pinion. It's on the lift out there right now. We just stuck the pinion back in it, so we can walk back there and have a look at that if you want.
Yeah, let's go check that thing out. A nice desk ornament here. What's going on with this thing?
Scott's a Wookiee. This is Mike Spiva's rodeo project that he's putting a 6-liter LS3 in, just for driving, no turbo or nothing, just because. This is like bone stock motor, just like, hey, it's going to be plenty. It's plenty of motor. I just always wanted to do one, so
it's going to be cool.
Been kind of finishing that, but that's Busto motor right there. So this is a 2002 Chevrolet Tahoe that I bought new in 2002. Put 310 something thousand miles on it, driving my family around summer camps, camping, road trips, pulling motorhomes to California and back, and Meteor Crater, all sorts of cool adventures in this truck. And I thought, you know what, instead of getting rid of it, why don't we just keep it and make a drag yard out of it?
I like
Which
that.
sounds ridiculous on the surface, but it's been a lot of fun. So this has a prototype turbocharger on it. This is a prototype of a turbocharger I'm working on that'll be part of our Black Friday sales, as a matter of fact. A 75 millimeter, 82 millimeter, 75 inducer on the compressor, and an 87 by 82 millimeter turbine wheel. Really, I think it's going to be a great turbo for the next step, kind of past what you're about to do with yours. So, so when you run your circuit on your 78, 75, and 4L60 and explode all that stuff, and decide to put a cam in and change to 4L80, the turbo that you're going to change to after that, the next one in the line, would be the 7582 turbocharger. This particular engine is a 2010 LY6 that I changed the crank ring on so that it can be compatible with and run HP tuners on the 2002 year model. So it's a 24 tooth ring on it with some CP stock diameter pistons in it. Just honed it a little bit to get some ring gap that I wanted. Stock rods, some ARP hardware, some Cadillac CTSV head gaskets, some ported the rectangle heads that were on that LY6, and put it together with a comp cam that's right at about 225 and 235 duration, and about 615 and about 620 lift on the at the valve.
What's the reasoning for the single plane and the elbow for an intake?
I like the way they look.
Well, that's all that matters sometimes.
I really like the way they look. The first time I put this together, we had the factory LY6 intake manifold on it, and I had it in the first iteration of this stock converter and everything. We had a turbo on it that was a predecessor to the 7875 that you're about to run, and we were getting some experience in how do you best turbo the LS, and how do you best turbo a basic combination with a lot of stock parts. How do you best turbo the medium combination with a focus on a little bit higher RPM? And then how do you focus on higher output applications where we're really going for a lot of power? And you know, the user base reduces each time you take that step up. But I tell you, I've had fun at each step along that way. The high power stuff is a lot of fun. I don't mess with that a lot myself because I don't like blowing up everything. Cost effective, results-based product that gets the job done, you know, and it doesn't have a bunch of things in it that you're not going to use. Why would you want to put an more expensive compressor wheel into a turbo that works good at a 5-to-1 pressure ratio if you're going to run 15 pounds of boost? Okay, it's just things that add money to your turbo. Yeah. And if you're getting started on this, you're already have so many things to spend money on. You know, you've got your faced with, I need to buy injectors, I need to get HP tuner licenses, you know, I need some lifters, I need some springs, I need, you know, exhaust parts, I save up for a converter. You have this in the beginning, round one, you have this huge list of parts that you have to buy. You don't really want to go buy all the parts you need for round 4. You know, when you're at round 1, this is a neat thing. This is a neat deal here. Camaros, right? Everybody loves Camaros. Nobody loves the 2-liter Camaros, though, right? Because this is like the base model. The base model is a 2-liter Camaro. It's the cheapest Camaro you can buy. Why would I want one of those? Well, because I can help you make it a 500 horsepower Camaro.
Really?
You know, looks completely stock, but that turbocharger right there is a 500 horsepower capacity, where the one I took off wasn't even a 350 wheel horsepower capacity. Hybrid kind of reworks on those that we've done for Eclipses, DSMs, Evos, Subarus. We upgrade the internals using the Xonarotor compressor wheels and shafts and internals. So you have factory fitment, but you get something that has all the aerodynamic advantages of the best Xonarotor parts that we have. Xonarotor cartridges, these are these about to balance? Balancing is the next stage for these. They've been balanced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times already, and they're about to be balanced for a 6th time. So the compressor wheels get 2 plane balance, the turbine wheels get 2 plane balance, the assembly gets put together, that balance gets checked and inspected, and then after that they get built and they go into the VSR room where we run them at full operating speed with engine temperature oil in them. So we really simulate exactly what they're going to do with the car to do a final validation on the vibration in the part at the end, and that it doesn't have any problems. It actually runs up to full speed. Super cool.
Like, I've never seen a stainless center section like that before. You said that they all get cast by tile?
The tile is where all the components for the cartridges are made. Tile Sport in Owasso. It would be neat to do a tour of the tile facility sometime when we have a chance, because all of this gets turned from bar stock into these parts in Owasso, Michigan. And then the turbine housings, in fact, are poured in the foundry in the tile plant in Owasso, Michigan. So the turbine housings are poured on site, machined on site. All the bearing housing and internal bearing components, collars, sleeves, oil chamber pistons. This got a variable preload system inside of it that's based on oil pressure. So as oil pressure increases, it increases the preload on the angular contact bearings. It's one of the core patented features of the turbocharger, but that helps extend the service life of the bearings. All those internal pieces get made in Owasso, Michigan. The bearings come from Germany, so that's a out-of-country thing. But for the most part, all these components are made in America.
They're cast in Michigan, assembled in Texas.
Cast in Michigan. Some aluminum casting happens in Texas.
That's really cool. It's rare to see these days. When would somebody step up from the more budget or entry-level HD line to these?
If you were going to, say, if you were considering running ball bearing Precision 67, 66s or something as twins on your 5-liter Mustang or something like this would be a good alternative to running Precision. So it'd be probably a step up from Precision in most ways because of the alloys of the parts, the non-rusting of the parts, the double piston rings on both sides, the variable preload angular contact bearings. There's a list of features. There's a feature set there that is present in the Xonarotor that's not in the PT turbocharger, that helps with longevity and durability on these things. The double piston rings, the variable preload, everything's a super alloy in it. There's no corrodable, rustable parts in this you don't have problems with. So this is like the bearing set I would use in a 600 horsepower TD05, TD06 build, okay? And then this is stock bearings in a bone stock S400. Oh, it's just a lot larger. Shaft diameter is bigger. The quill diameter up in this area on an S400, this is where the compressor wheel sits, okay, much bigger. This one you only have the support from 270. Totally adequate for a Cummins or a motorhome, right? You know, this is like, if you had an S400 on a motorhome, these are the bearings that are in it. They go 500,000 miles. There's no problem with this stuff. But when we want to start hitting it with analog and two-step, and Jerry wants to delete the blow-off valve, and all this other stuff starts happening. Sometimes it's better to up-armor these parts.
What's in this one? How's that?
It's in between these two. So this is TD05H. This is TO4S based bearing structure here. So this is not regular T4 size bearings, but what Garrett did when they needed to make a slightly bigger, more robust version for John Deere sometime in the mid-'80s. They redesigned the bearing housing with a larger turbine side piston ring seal, larger interface where the shaft attaches to where the head attaches to the shaft, larger piston ring, larger internal bearings, and larger thrust bearing. And we're using essentially a TO4SO4 bearing system in that.
Okay.
It's about halfway between these two. And you got to keep in mind also, this is not something that we're recommending you run 65 pounds of boost with. These are the Street Series turbochargers for LS. So what do we have when we have a Street LS turbocharger? We probably have something running about 20 to 25 pounds of boost max. So again, keep in mind, we're trying to make a price point appropriate turbocharger for a 20 to 25 PSI application. If you need something that's more severe duty, we have Xonarotor stuff with ball bearings in them. And
this thing right here, I call this the 4L60 melter, because that's what it's gonna do. Probably one of the first things it's gonna do. I hate to say it, but I have no remorse. What did you say to me?
Little whirly boy
You see it? It's little.
It's amazing.
It's a baby.
It's cute. It looks good.
It's gonna pack a punch.
I bet.
78, 75, I think you said.
Oh, that's a 5.3 in there.
Yeah.
You gonna gap the rings? You're just gonna send it.
We are not gonna touch anything.
Oh, I like that. That's my type of. That's my type of party.
It's
right there.
it's naturally gapped, 200,000 miles. Pretty soon we're gonna be tearing all Uncle Rob apart. Yeah, it's coming.